There we go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Playing the Artist. My name is Antoine Marchildon. If you're an artist, you like art, and you want to learn more about those type of things, maybe from somebody that has a little bit of experience in the field, stick around because you might learn something, and we hope you do. As always, hopefully, my co-host, Alex, what are we talking about today?
Hey there, yeah, I'm Alex Kolakowski, an artist as well. And this week we're going to talk about, well, you kind of brought up something interesting. Like when we were thinking about topics, you said, like what came to your mind was like stress and doubt. So yeah, and that, I mean, that like sparked a whole lot of like, just like strategies for that for me. So, but I want to make sure like I'm addressing the right kind of like the right kind of stress and doubt. Like, are you talking about stress and doubt with regards to like a project, like your project, or is it something more maybe like?
Oh no, it's definitely towards it's definitely towards the art side of things. Well, I guess project wise, yeah, like you were saying. But yeah, what are we gonna? You want me to continue?
I don't know. I mean, like, I guess we could, like, I feel like stress comes from sort of like the unknown and like,
oh yeah,
you're not sure how much, if you can accomplish this lofty goal that you've set out for yourself, maybe. I don't know, things coming at you that you didn't expect that are just putting a monkey wrench into your plan, maybe. And then it becomes overwhelming when you have to deal with that. But I don't know. I feel like I'm putting words into maybe your situation.
Well, no, the reason why I had like stress on my mind, I learned about toxic stress. You ever heard of that? Oh, sweet mug, by the way.
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, my mom made it.
I was about to say, did your mom give you that? What was I going to say? Oh yeah, toxic stress. Yeah, so toxic stress is in younger children where they get stressed out so much to the point where it becomes almost permanent. Like it stays with you for a long time, like the stress. And so your stress receptors become really sensitive. So I'll give an example, kind of like I don't know, you hit something and it vibrates, right? Well, imagine man, that's a shitty analogy. It's just what's the word I used again? Man, this podcast sucks.
You're trying to describe manic.
Oh yeah. So your stress receptor becomes really sensitive. So the moment like something happens, it like triggers really quick, and then that becomes like it'll just like But it's funny because I think I had that when I was a kid because I remember being young and just being like bawling my eyes out for like no reason. I didn't know why.
So you're like conditioned to being sensitive to stress. And
yeah, and so I started like going down that rabbit hole and like doubt and stress and stuff, and then I started learning about like your mind and yourself. Like I guess you could say your spirit and your biology is like constantly fighting against you. Like for example, your brain's like kind of like it's always going on, right? When you're awake, even when you're sleeping, it's still firing off, right? But what happens is your brain is just kind of going through the motions and stuff, and you like do things like put on your shoes, put on your shirt, make coffee, do the podcast with Alex, and then let's say down the road there's a hesitation in something, right? And your brain doesn't understand the consequences of the situation that you stopped and hesitated on something. So your brain just defaults to danger. I need to protect this meat wagon, right? So
it's like a micro procrastination.
Yeah, but it's your body trying to be like, we don't know what's going on because we can't really perceive anything. So we're just gonna like the chemicals that are flooding in right now. We're just gonna take that for a signal and say that something's going wrong. stop what you're doing and run away from this situation. And that happens, all the time, right? When you're well, I don't know, I shouldn't say all the time. I shouldn't speak for every artiste or craftsman or maker or whatnot.
I think sometimes you like, especially if there's any kind of deadline and you're taking a certain approach, and you're thinking like, hey, man, I hope this works out because I haven't really done it this way before, or I've never done this particular thing before, and you're like, yeah, this could waste a lot of time. And so,
well, right there, you're
some hesitation, just naturally occurs there. You gotta get through it.
Yeah, hesitation and doubt are pretty much the same thing. They both trigger, stress.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And then also I was thinking about like, okay, well then that's like an internal kind of like chemical dialogue with your brain of stress. So I started noticing like it's once you start understanding like, oh, this is like a chemical thing, you can kind of like, it's kind of like a flood, right? You like look at a flood and you're like, oh my God, look at all this water. What the fuck's happening? But then you're like, well, it has to be coming from somewhere. So then you go find the pipe that's burst and then you shut that pipe off, right? Or you just like, put some duct tape around it or something. So that's the way I'm starting to feel. I'm still trying to get the hang of it where every time it pops up, I can kind of be like, hang on, Antoine, it's just a leak. Put a patch on it, you'll be fine, right?
Yeah, like anything you do repetitively, the more you do it, the more you become accustomed to continue to do it. And it becomes sort of your default kind of go-to. It's like, were you and I talking about, I don't know if this was you and I, but like you ever like, you start talking in an accent to like mock some joke or some meme or something.
Yeah.
And then before you know it, like after 2 weeks of mocking it, it becomes part of your normal speech.
Yeah.
And you're saying like, I don't know, bay, or maybe somebody say catch me outside or some shit like that. And it just
you're gonna catch these hands.
Just because of the repetition of it, it kind of becomes your default, even though you had no intention to.
Yeah.
So if like stress is like something you've been defaulting to for a long time, you just gotta like spend 2 weeks of not defaulting to stress, and whatever your strategy is for getting that, maybe that can become less of a default. I don't know. I mean, it's probably not that easy.
Well, you just gotta catch yourself, man. You just gotta keep catching yourself in your own bullshit. In your own, in your own doubt. And that's the thing though, like when people talk about stress, like when you see like, I don't know, I feel like I hate using society, I guess culture wise, like on television and media and like how things are, like they think stress is like, is more of along the lines that it's this thing that you have and it's not normal and you got to get rid of it. And if you get it, but what I'm trying to say is like, it's not a permanent thing and something that will just like disappear forever. Like that's not very true. It keeps coming back. You just got to like get better and stronger and be prepared for it. And then when it does come back, you'll be ready for it. And then you can kind of brush it off your shoulder a lot quicker, And I don't think it's healthy to think about like happiness or no stress in your life. Like thinking like you should always be happy and you should always not be stressed. Well, you shouldn't be stressed. You got to take care of yourself. But like it's a normal thing. We're not all Buddha, right?
But like at the same time, you also don't want to like. You got to be realistic that that's never going to go away, and there's always shit in life that happens. It sucks. But you also can't really accept misery either. You can't use that as a way to be sort of like, well, there's always going to be stress in my life, so why do anything? Because why change my stressful situation? You still need to like try to do daily misery reduction. Whatever that is. Like it's like empowering yourself, right?
Let me stop you there. I'm going to say increase your misery in doing an activity that's hard, but at the end of the day is good for you. Like
Yeah, it's like
doing a bunch of push-ups or like
you want to do like controlled misery, like under your terms misery.
yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Like introduce it to yourself. You know,
Mhm.
don't expose yourself to like this like surprise misery you don't need. Like that's, I mean, not to say that productive stuff doesn't happen to traumatic, you know, as a result of traumatic events and stuff. Like I think people grow, but it's like you have no choice but to. But like you said, yeah, when if you're waking up at 6 a.m. and like hitting the road and like running, jogging, or whatever, or
Yeah.
doing your workout, whatever that might be, like yeah, that's not exactly fun and it's strenuous and you're sore the rest of the day. But yeah, it makes you more capable to deal with whatever's coming at you.
Yeah. Well, also in the chemical aspect, it releases it grows your testosterone, and it also lowers cortisone. You ever heard of what that is? Cortisone?
Dude, I'm so not in. I'm so no good at like brain chemistry.
Well, anyways,
I
cortisone.
should be embarrassed about that. I don't think.
Well, you shouldn't be because that's not our job. But cortisone is when that gets released, it actually stresses your body out, and it can happen when the body's too physically worked out or too mentally worked out, and then you start producing cortisone.
And what does that feel like? What is the feeling of?
I have no idea.
Oh,
I just listen to people that are a lot smarter than me that tell me these things, and then I repeat them, and then I feel smart.
oh, so you're everybody in the whole world. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, actually, and then there's a thing though, like in Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules to Life, the first chapter is stand up straight, keep your shoulders back. And then later I found out there was an actual like Harvard study about people like doing like these poses, like putting their hands up in the air or like putting their hands on their hips or like just like stretching out their like back and pushing out their shoulder blade, pushing their shoulder blades back and pushing out their chest, doing that for like 2 minutes a day. And it showed people that would do that for like a month, their cortisone levels would be a lot lower and their testosterone would be a lot higher. So there's an actual, like your actual like physical self, how you like hold yourself is an act can actually return into a chemical like benefit, which is really crazy when you think about it, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a loop because something in your brain is deciding to like do a positive thing for a moment, and then you do it, and then before you know it, it's like coming back and affecting your brain, and it's like enabling you to continue to do that.
Maybe that's why artists are so miserable. They're always hunched over their tables.
Yeah. The vulture posture is like a constant struggle, man.
Dude, it's yeah, me too, man. I struggle with it too. It's yeah.
You gotta address that. Like it's a struggle for me. But when I was on vacation, I saw a guy who never, like I could tell he never made any. He was not aware of how bad his posture was. And he was like roughly my age, and his neck was like an L. It was like,
dude, that's insane. Well, the guy might have neck problems or something. You know what I mean? Like maybe.
Yeah. You know, you never know. Yeah, there could be some sort of something.
Odds are, though, he's just.
It's just like, oh man, I stood up straighter that day. Like.
Yeah, man. That's one thing I see when I see other people with like. That are slouchy, I'm like, oh, I start stretching out, or
see a little bit of yourself, and then like, oh shit.
Yeah. Geez, what else do we?
Yeah, I mean, so if we want, I guess, just to continue things along, like.
Oh, hey, hang on, I'm gonna stop you there.
Okay.
How was Toy Story? Sorry, I want to know right now.
It was good, man. It was somewhere between, like, Toy Story 1 is like OG and the best and stuff.
I don't know.
Maybe if you go back and watch it, maybe it sucks. But in my mind, there's no undoing Toy Story 1. That's just
story-wise, it's super solid.
Yeah, you can't fuck with Toy Story 1.
Aged really bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm a terrible movie critic, man. I enjoyed it.
That's true.
I'm sure there's some enjoyment to be had there. There's like it does. My emotions were like engaged. I didn't cry, but I felt like I could see how people would cry.
Was there people crying in the movie theater with you?
No, there wasn't. But they did the clap at the end. Everybody clapped for the
Oh,
credits.
yeah.
You know, for they applauded the.
I think that's pretty cool when people clap for a film, a movie. You know what I mean? It's just
I see it more often. When I was a kid, nobody ever did it. Even when like the Ninja Turtles movie came out, which is like gold. I'm just kidding.
wow. Think about it though. There was a bunch of kids, right? The kids are just excited to run out there and then play and tell all their friends the movie they watched, right?
Oh yeah.
When you're an adult, you know, you start appreciating I don't know. I guess things a little bit more.
I think so. I think cinema is like a bit more embedded now too. Like I think it was always a thing. Like everybody's always gone to the movies, but it's a bit more like because like all the like there's a lot of like adult children out there and
Oh yeah.
people are hanging on to their youth a lot longer. And I think cinema is yeah, myself. I think cinema is like cinema. The movies is like it's just more embedded. People are just more used to it and they appreciate it a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Here's another question for you. What did you get up to? Like, did you make any artwork?
You know, I did a small amount. I'm working towards like I'm getting back into characters. I still want to, you know, I've got my project that's kind of there's not much character work involved, but I made a bit of progress on just like iterating on some like this armored up kind of wizard character. But I don't. It's not a place where I want to show anything new. I mean, I have shared a little bit of it on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
I mean, you can follow the link in the comments or whatever.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, I updated your links as well. Maybe
Oh yeah.
do this at the end.
Still gotta get Facebook.
I put your Thingiverse up there instead of the Facebook.
Cool. Thank you.
Situation sorted out. So
thank you. Yeah. You know what we need? You know what we need to do for you? I think we got to set a little project for you, like something that's just Snoopy on the other side. Snoopy got to hit the treadmill. Snoopy got my gut. That's what that is. What's that? We got to set a little project for you. Something that's like a little I don't know, a little bigger, and just something we can. I think you can
something
stretch.
that you can track and talk about.
Yeah.
Well, no, I do have that larger project. The thing is, like, I just can't. I focus on like I spent the last. I don't know. I spent a couple months on it, I guess. I just get sidetracked all over the place, and I really I need to do random art that comes to my head sometimes. I don't know what it is. I just need to get that out. If I plan my project, even though you really got to plan your project. I think I need to book in time for me to take a break from that project to just like get out. If I just want to paint that day, or if I want to iterate on some old model that I put down a long time ago that I do intend to finish. That, like, you know, sometimes you put them down. I think, you know, I've gone as far as I need to on this one, and I'm not really excited about it anymore. And then there's sometimes put it down just because the scope of that project is just so huge, and you're like, there's no way for me to like maintain a normal life and get this done in any sort of like efficient.
The dopamine. You need the dopamine hit.
What's that?
You need the dopamine hit of finishing something.
Yeah, well, that's why I did like that campfire thing. Yeah, I was just like, I need to get something out this weekend because it's been a long time. It's been like things are taking a while, and then the other thing is like, I'm just like holding back on some of my art as well. So,
but it's funny you bring that up because I experienced that this weekend. Like I didn't work on I worked on very little of the Kickstarter stuff. And I did a bunch of other stuff that I was doing for Thingiverse. Excuse me. Oh man, I should have got some water. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so I find myself, like when I was working with you, I would get up in the mornings and then do an hour of work, like my personal work, and then go to work and work on, you know, the project we're working on. And then I would go, and after work I would come back and then do a little bit more work on my personal projects. And I could do that like pretty much every day. Like it was pretty consistent, right? And then I found myself like getting burnt out. I was like, oh man, this is rough. Like it's hard to like, I'm like really slugging through this stuff.
How many days in was that? How long did that take?
Well, that was like, I started feeling it right around Friday.
So you did a week's worth of work and you felt after a week
Yeah, it's
felt
getting
tired
sluggy. Yeah.
or exhausted.
Yeah. But then I worked on this Thingiverse thing, and these tiles for like sci-fi tiles, and it was like, it wasn't as, what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't as like, it was just something I could do where I didn't really have to, like, there wasn't really any, there was a goal, but it was a smaller goal that I can reach, and I did it, and I'm going to be actually uploading the models today. But I think I kind of have to do that same model. Like now, since I'm unemployed, I'm trying to work on my own thing. I think I should still have that same model. And whereas in the mornings for an hour, I should just work on something that's, something that's like for me and for like, that will like benefit my, my library of work. And then once that hour is done, or like 2 hours, then go to the Kickstarter and then start sinking, 5 or 6 hours in that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy.
What's happening is essentially like that before, like I would do my personal work and then I go do my job. But now my personal work is becoming my job. So I kind of have to like switch the roles around a bit and try to treat it. I got to treat this personal project like a job, less of a personal project, I guess.
Well, I think it's exhausting to engage in anything for a long time. You're heading in the same space for 40 hours or whatever it had been all week. So it's like you got to rip your head out of that at some point.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I was tempted yesterday and I ordered a large pizza, and then it never showed up because my phone for some reason just didn't get, like, I got a text message and it was like the pizza was like 2 hours late, and I got a text message like blah blah phone. It's an automatic messenger where it says like your call got missed. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't connected to the satellites or whatever. So I took that as a sign from God that he didn't want me to have a pizza. So
that's awesome. So what did you do? You made a salad or something?
No, I didn't eat anything because I just wasn't really that hungry. I was just being a big baby. I just wanted to shove pleasurable things in my mouth.
Gotcha. This was after dinner then.
Oh yeah. I ordered it at like 7, so I was just in the heat of the moment. But I'm glad I didn't come, and I'm glad it didn't show up. Sorry, it did show up. I'm just glad I didn't get the message.
I'm glad it put you in a good mood. I feel like I might have been all frustrated about it.
Sorry?
I feel like it would have soured my mood if I would have been like, oh god damn it, I ordered this pizza and they didn't deliver. And now I was expecting a pizza.
Yeah, but like I have such an unhealthy relationship with food, so like I knew what I was doing. Like I was just being like I was just being an addict, right? And then it was just like, okay, the universe slapped that pizza out of my hands. Thank God. And carry on. So
yeah, it was your animal brain that ordered that pizza.
Yeah. It's, I don't know what I think it's just when you get older, you start like separating your reptilian brain and your consciousness. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's you can separate it, but you still doesn't mean you have much more control over it. Like it's still things. Like you said, it still orders that pizza when you don't need it. Like I could have McDonald's and I just grabbed it.
This is the thing though. I had the urge to go out and just like grab something, right? I could have just did that. Like I don't live that far away from like any place that serves junk food. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I mean?
You didn't want to even walk to get your pizza, like a block.
Yeah, I could have totally did that, or just go get like a bag of chips and candy, right? I felt like doing that, but I didn't. because I was just like, yeah, you're not hungry. You don't really want the food. You just want like the pleasure of the sugar and salt.
Okay, it's the brain chemical dopamine. A little bit of dopamine. Is that the one?
Well, maybe it's
little candy.
Well, let's go back on what I was talking about, chemical stress. Maybe that's what that is, right? Maybe one of my things I deal with when I'm stressed is like I eat, right? So I was probably just stressed out a bit, and I just wanted to stress to stop, so I just wanted to shove pizza in my face.
Yeah, it's the same feeling you get when maybe you get a pat on the back for doing a good job, but that one lasts longer. But like when you have a pizza or like a couple of M&Ms, it's the same feeling, but it lasts like 3 or 4 seconds.
Oh man, yeah, it's ridiculous how much garbage you'll eat for essentially a couple minutes of pleasure.
Yeah,
and then the what's it called again? The damage is so great.
Yeah. I feel like art is the same way. You make a lot of art or something you're proud of, and you share it, and it gets likes. And those likes are like little tiny M&Ms, and you open your phone and there's a couple M&Ms here. Oh, I just got an M&M. Somebody left one. And then the comment is like, that's like, ooh, it's a big favorable comment. This is like a slice of cheese pizza or whatever. Yeah, just cheese, not even any toppings, just like little, maybe extra 4 cheese.
Yeah, man.
And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's a little better. I think it's a better way of like experiencing that sort of whatever that chemical is, but it's kind of the same.
I don't think so, because then it becomes a game, right?
Well, at least it's rewarding somewhat positive behavior out of it.
Yeah, most definitely. You got to make sure that you separate the two, right? You can't get hung up on the numbers. Like if it does well, then you can kind of think like, oh, okay, why did this do well? And then you can kind of dissect it. Help me out here, brother.
Dissect it.
Thank you. Big words. Help it to break it down so you can analyze it for a goal, right? Like for me, I'm trying to, do this Kickstarter and also generate a following for my company so that when the Kickstarter gets launched, it could be somewhat successful. And then in that process, I'm kind of trying different posts and different stuff and then seeing what happens. And then from there, try to get a model so I can kind of hone it in and, make a future for myself and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And afford a non-squeaky chair like this guy. So yeah, like
I think like if you're working on a big project like that, it doesn't make sense for every little piece to be this like magnet.
Yeah.
I said like, and actually the word I was searching for was like, because like as you like, gosh, some feedback that I got about the show is that I say like about 1,000 times an episode.
Oh, same here, brother, man. I'm who told you that? Your woman?
Yeah.
Hey Sam.
Hey Sam.
Get our business.
Now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, yeah.
No, I agree. For me though, like I just said like right there. I agree. Well, it's just we're just rambling, right? And we're trying to get those words out and what our thoughts and whatnot, and we're just not as intelligent. We don't have the vocabulary, but we can move some polys.
Grasping vocabulary. Yeah, I was saying there's in a project, you're kind of leading into this. Maybe if you're making like an underground dungeon or something, there's like at some point there's a showpiece kind of item. Maybe it's like an altar at the end or something, and that's sort of your item that's your item you use to garner those likes. That's the one you expect. Like, if all these assets I'm making, like if I'm gonna share one as a focal point to try and generate interest and excitement, like that's the one you do. But if you share the pillar you made or like the wall that leads up to it, makes sense that it doesn't just like, gather 1,000 likes or hearts or whatever the social media thing is.
Well, I think it's dangerous there, though. What you're saying, though. I think that's dangerous, though, because then you're still getting hung up on your expectations, how good a certain project should do, right? Because that might not be the case, right? You might make this little tiny pillar, and everybody is fucking digging it, right?
Well,
everybody's liking it, stuff, and then you make this thing that you spent like 100 hours in, and then you get not even half as much as the shitty pillar you made.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get hung up again, right? And then you get in that vicious circle, like, okay, well, what do I do now here, and stuff like that.
Well, that's really dangerous, because you're not sure why one piece is successful and why one is not, and then you gotta ask yourself, this piece that's my showpiece, it's wasn't as popular as this little supporting piece. Why is that?
Then you can break it down, right?
Yeah, like, I don't know. How valid is that? And we're kind of dissecting a hypothetical here, but.
Well, that's good, though, because, like, oh, man, look at me saying a bunch of likes. Sam will be upset. What was I going to say? No, man, because the thing is, like, I'm sure there's plenty of people, plenty of young artists and whatnot. They get hung up on the numbers and whatnot. And I was one of them. And it's not healthy, and it's not good, and you need to stay away from that. And you got to just focus on the work, sitting down and doing the work.
Yeah, there's a balance of like to your own work, doing what you need to do, and getting feedback from the community and seeing what they enjoy. And
that's a little.
You can't ignore it. You do have to take that into consideration.
Yeah.
And exactly. Yeah, there's a balance to be had somewhere there.
The art community is fairly nice. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, people usually, when they leave a comment on like art blogs or like on Reddit or Facebook or whatever.
Instagram, I feel, is really positive.
Yeah, usually it's nice.
I think the opinions on Facebook are a little bit more balanced and a little bit more. You'll get constructive criticism there.
Yeah.
If you're posting on a page that is not like the page you carved out for yourself, those stay pretty positive for the most part. Maybe a troll will linger, lurk in, and like, it's pretty rare though. It's like if you're sharing your work on sort of like a third party page, and that's where you're going to get pretty true feedback. It is like pretty nice overall, but in my experience at least, but people will call out things that will never get called out on Instagram. YouTube is notorious for being overly negative, but luckily, I guess, or we don't. It doesn't really affect us, because until now, until this show, I suppose we haven't had a YouTube presence, because we mostly do like still imagery, right? But
yeah.
I think once you get your Facebook going, the feedback from there will be a bit more useful.
That sounds nice. That's good.
Maybe Twitter. I haven't done any Twitter either. I don't know what that sounds like a platform that's really like, it encourages comments. So maybe you'll get even truer feedback from Twitter once we get that rolling.
Actually, I'm going to write down a note right now, and I'm going to make a Twitter today. How about that? Catch me outside.
All right. Another thing I was thinking about was, the saying, don't compare yourself to somebody else.
Oh,
don't compare
yourself to others. Compare yourself from yesterday.
To who you were yesterday.
Yeah, to who you were yesterday.
I think that's only half of the saying. I think you still need to compare yourself to like others. I think you need
for sure. Yeah, no.
It's worthwhile to compare yourself to somebody a lifetime mastering their craft, and like because that's a useful like measuring stick as well. This sort of like unattainable comparison, I think, is useful.
Well, I don't think the saying is. I think the saying is more focused on the negative aspect when you say like, oh man, goddamn it. Since you just said that comment about we say like too much, I keep saying it now, and upsets me. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, it's more towards a line of I guess you could say self-doubt, and comparing yourself to someone and saying, well, why do they have this and why are they like this? I think it's more of the negative aspect. I don't like, God damn, there I go again, saying like. Anyways, whatever. I say like, deal with it.
All right, no more addressing your,
I know.
when you say like, just let it be.
Let it be. It's me. It's just like me. Yeah, I think it's just on the negative aspect where you use it to rip yourself down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you should have heroes. You should have people that are bigger than you. But just remember that if it's if you keep at it, you'll catch up to those people. You know what I mean? Those those heroes of yours. Because I remember just hearing athletes always say it all the time, where they say like, "Oh my God, I'm here in front of the person I used to watch on TV." You know what I mean? Yeah. And they get starstruck, and then they don't perform as well, and in front of them, right? And you saw that in a fight last year, a UFC fight of Israel Dos Anjos versus Silva. And Israel, he would always talk about Silva, that he was like, I used to watch him, and he really got me into the sport. And then when they fought, it was a weird thing. Israel he won the fight, but you could tell he was very hesitant, not himself, and it was almost like he was fighting a mirror image of himself in a weird way. Like he was like fighting himself. In a weird way, he was, because Silva inspired him to be a UFC fighter. And so in a weird way, Anderson Silva is a part of Israel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's used Anderson Silva and incorporated what he's seen.
Yeah, and he's become
in athletics a lot.
Oh yeah. And you art too, right? Like do
you think that the art of today is better than the art of like in the Renaissance period? Like the best art of today?
Yes. People that say like, oh, the masters and stuff. Well, guess what? If they had all the technology that we had, they would use it. They'd be like, oh, sweet, I just use this stuff. They wouldn't get all snooty about it and be like, oh no, you can't use that. That's cheating. They'd be like, whatever, dude. I got work to do. I got ideas in my head that got to come out, right?
Yeah, but having the lack of technology from back in the day means those guys really had to focus on the very difficult fundamentals. Like, how many people nowadays have to really learn perspective? Almost like in digital art anyway, almost nobody has to learn perspective. There's like tools to draw, grid out that snaps your pen to the grid. You paint over 3D models. A lot of guys are doing that.
This one guy I saw, he would there would be a side of a building, right? And it'd be on a perspective. And what he would do is he would just draw it flat and then just take the scaling tool and then just move it around and like fit it on the side of the square and then get the perfect perspective. And you're just like, that's genius. That's so smart.
Yeah, I get it, because I'd rather make 10 pieces of art than one that I could say, oh, I did this from scratch and I figured out all the little things mathematically and on pen and paper.
Having said that, traditional art like gouaches and acrylics and stuff like that, they deserve their merit, and people love them for that aesthetic, right?
Yeah. It's a look that you can only really achieve that way.
Yeah, of course. And when I'm saying that, and when you're saying that, we're not discrediting. We're discrediting. God damn it! Help me out here, Alex.
We're not discrediting the medium of digital art, right? Or traditional. Which are you not discrediting? I'm not discrediting. And I don't think undo is like a very. People say, "Oh, I do digital art, and I have undo." So it sort of discredits digital art because it's like this cheaty thing. But I don't think that's the case. Like pencils have erasers, there's a lot of, you're just taking a different approach. And
Yeah.
and you might say, well, oh, what if you're on paper, you knock your ink over and it splashes everywhere and it ruins your whole piece. You say, if only I'd undo. But you're really not comparing that to like the 80th stroke you've drawn on your tablet that you're undoing and trying to get that perfect line. That line I could get in like one or two strokes on paper. You're like, the comparison to the spilled ink is like I've spun my computer chair around and I've pulled the cord out with my foot, and now I've lost like 3 hours of work. There's no undo for that, and that's like
that's a good analogy. I never thought about it like that. That's good.
I think undo is just like a tool, just like an eraser is a tool, or whiteout is a tool.
Yeah, no, totally. Don't get hung up on the things that you can't do. Focus on the things that you can, and
emphasize other mediums.
Oh yeah, I saw this
cartoon thing. If only I could, be this guy, be that guy.
I saw this cartoon, and it was like four pallets. Anyways, it was four little sketches, and the first sketch was it was a dude on a Cintiq, and he's drawing, and he's kind of depressed, and he says, "Oh, I'll never be good as the greats." And then the next panel is somebody at like a drawing table. He's like, looks like he's like an animator, and he's drawing. He's like, "Oh, I'll never be good at like the greats." And then it goes to like a Renaissance thing, and it's like some like Da Vinci person or whatever, and he's painting. He's like, "I'll never be good as the greats." And then the last photo is a caveman standing in front of a rock, like a stone wall, and there's like a shitty little painting of like stick figures, and he's hands on his hips. He's like, "I'm the best." And it's and you know what I mean? So like,
he's so like blissfully unaware.
Yeah.
And then there's everyone from the future in a way, like
they'll say that, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I wonder, because I love the Super Nintendo era of like video game artwork.
Oh man,
and I just think the box art stuff and the Nintendo stuff is just so masterful. But did they look back? How far did they look back and think, oh, this is what? I don't know if they did. They don't look at Pong and think, Pong, these cubes are perfectly placed.
No, they don't. That'd be really dumb. No, that's a weird thing because, well, I think they were just probably looking at illustrations, and they were like, let's try to get this illustration as close as possible on this video game, right? It's a weird thing because video games, like aesthetic wise, grew because of hardware, not because of like artists haven't figured it out yet, right? It was just hardware limitations. So like the art's already there and the inspiration, right? And so it's just this box that they were constricted to. But it's funny because people now will make like Shovel Knight, right? Like that game, the art style is super awesome, but it's NES classic kind of vibe thing going on. You know what I mean? Like it's retro.
Retro's huge. It's still it's as big as ever. It's bigger than ever, probably. There's probably more people playing pixel games today than there was in 1997 when the Super Nintendo was.
But there's more people in video games. A hot commodity for the soy boys. You ever notice commercials? I've noticed this on a lot of commercials. Every commercial that's kind of catered to like, shitty eating and like anything that's like food related, I find like fast food or like junk food. All the people look like me, but with a beard. Just doughy, nerdy people with glasses, and they have a big beard. They're kind of balding a bit, and they might have big framed glasses. And it's just like, oh, they know these people so well that they know that there's like, oh, these people look like this, and they'll eat this because that's like they know how to cater to. It's crazy. But yeah. So what's the plan this week, Alex? Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest. I kept noticing these commercials of these doughboys, soy boys. But anyways, what's the plan this week? What are you gonna make?
What's my plan?
Personal work.
Yeah, I'm gonna continue to focus on this character. I'd like to really get him in a shareable place. That looks like an improvement over the last thing I shared, I guess.
What was the last thing you shared? Last thing you shared was the cool little fireplace.
Yeah, no, I mean in relation to that specific character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my Facebook page is where I've been sharing. I haven't really shared too much on Instagram with regards to this character, but yeah, I'm thinking about like miniatures and tabletop figures and what I can present that's like a new idea there that people aren't doing. Trying to, because there's some really good work. Like the stuff the Artisan Guild guys are doing is pretty amazing. Like their sculpts are like on par with like industry, like video game kind of AAA sculpting. I think it's really good. It's doing really well. So I'm trying to think of like, I love to make things that are a bit more interactive. That goblin thing I have on Thingiverse. That was the reason I let it go for free, is because I think it's a fun model and everything, but it's not really not quite as there's nothing like unique. There's no like kind of hook about it. Like I enjoyed that the fireplace had some stuff you can put together, and I love how your stuff can click together and it works, and many pieces become a greater piece and they all feed off each other. So I'm thinking about that as I make this character as well. I want to make it a bit. I want to just play around with the idea of customizability in a small way. So I've got some ideas in mind on how to do that with miniatures, and I'm gonna continue to invest some time in it. But I'm still figuring out the design. I'm trying to maintain this balance of designing it in 3D, because I don't mind sitting down and sketching an idea, but I don't want to spend too much time and feel like, I need to render out a concept, because I think that's gonna just derail me. So I want to focus on the 3D design in it as much as 3D until it starts feeling slow, and then do some quick sketches to figure it out, just enough to keep myself moving along. But characters take a lot of time when you're doing it in your spare time. So that's why it's been kind of slow progress there. But maybe I'll show you a picture later on.
Fair enough.
It is in the link if you want to check it out. So that's what I'm going to be up to. I also want to start getting into those other platforms, like having a presence for Tiger Skull RPG on like Twitter, buffing that up a bit. Like DeviantArt as well. Just get my roots in there in those places. You know what I mean?
Oh man, coughing like crazy.
What about yourself? What are you up to?
Oh, what am I up to? I finished all the generators and silos. So I got 11 pieces made, and a couple of some of those are added on. So I'm over budget now on the Kickstarter. So that's a good thing.
Over budget.
More by assets wise. I'm over budget.
You've made too many, or you plan to make too many?
No. I'm already over budget. Like I just made another like 2 extra ones. Actually, like 3, I think, or something like that. So, and I still have to do the whole list, right?
You're making models that aren't on your original list, but you're not taking models out of your list.
No, I'm not taking models out of my list. No, I'm just saying I'm adding. I thought it was clear on that, but apparently not.
Have you decided like, is there a portion of your asset list that's like, okay, if I get this done, this is the bare minimum of what I want to get done. This is like my ideal, what I'd like to get done, and then there's another list that's like, if I get this as well, that's.
I'm not even choked up about it, man. Like I just need to get the work done, right? Because, okay, sorry. The stuff I wrote down needs to get done, right? And if something else comes to me where I'm like, it'd be cool if there was a different version of this,
Yeah.
then I'll do it. If I feel like I can like, pump it out fairly easily. But being like, having like, all these different goals, no, it just, there's one target. And if there's add-ons, then that's great. Then it's, more cherries on top. But for the most part, it's just stick to the list. I'm just going down the list. Like I don't like before I was gonna be like jumping around, be like, oh, I'm gonna do this on this day, and I'm gonna do this on this day. And I was like, nah, don't have to make it that complicated. Just go down the list and just do the damn thing, right?
Yeah.
So that's the way I'm approaching it right now. I feel, because I don't want to be jumping around too much, because I feel that then it'll be too. Then I'll lose some of the structure, right? I remember on our last podcast, I was talking about structure, talking about chaos and control, and that it has to be this weird little balance. Like I can't stay too rigid, but I need enough rigidness so things actually get done, and that I don't just drift out, and then it'll be too hard for me to get pulled back, or it'll take too much time to be pulled back.
You can't, like, it's good to project plan and all that, but you can't plan for spontaneous inspiration. And that's where a lot of them, like your best ideas happen.
Yeah.
And so if you plan everything out to a T, there's no room for that. And you need to have room for that.
Yeah.
These ideas that come to you, because the more you're spending all this time on it, you're thinking about this project as a whole. Like, because this is your first maybe project where you're like, you're the general as well as the guy in the front lines hacking away at.
I'm the queen bee and the workers.
Yeah. So you need to switch, you need to be able to put on those hats when you need to.
Yeah.
At the same time, you can always, your general can, receive feedback right away about, good ideas and maybe things change. You don't have to be rigid to any plan you've already made, because no one will know. No one will know at the end. They'll just want it to be good.
Exactly. That's the whole thing, right? It just make some cool assets, and then people like it. And if they don't, well, then guess what? You did a bunch of work, and now that work's out of the way. Now on to the next battle. But like I said, I have to have that balance, right? I have to do little tiny kind of separate things to kind of coast the fires of the big thing.
Yeah. As long as you're deviating because you're inspired, and you're not deviating because you're procrastinating about some task you have to do for your big project that you're not excited about, maybe, or that you're getting out on, or not, just lethargic towards for some reason.
You just get sick of looking at things, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just look at it for so long. You're like, I just want this to be done, and you just want to get it out of the way, and you just want to get it out there. And when that happens, the artwork gets a little sacrificed. Your attention is not as clear and clear cut, and therefore you just kind of throw it out the door. But at the same lines, it's good to get the stuff out the door, because it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of like putting out a fire. It's like it's there, and you're like, it's kind of burning, and you're just like, let's just get it out of the way so the next thing can happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I like life drawing. When you're doing life drawing, you want to get the sketch done, and then you get to the next one, and you get and then hopefully you get a couple good ones, and then you do a bigger piece, because the model will then sit for 10 minutes or whatever, and then maybe you'll look back at those quicker, smaller ones, and you kind of wring in some of that inspirational juice, and then you put it towards the bigger thing. Does that make sense? I don't know. I just felt like I just was talking to my ass there.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been real great at life drawing.
No, but that's I'm not talking about life drawing. I'm just making the analogy towards like you make a bunch of smaller pieces, and so that the bigger piece can have more structure, can have more, you know. You sacrifice yourself for smaller pieces so the bigger piece can succeed.
Yeah.
Right. Make sense?
I think so. I don't know.
You're killing me right now.
No, it sounds like what I was saying earlier, and I think we were both trying to, I don't know, we're both kind of getting at something. It's like you have your greater piece, you know, your smaller part is a greater piece of the whole, and you know, focusing too much on any one thing. I think that you're just thinking like a general sometimes. You're thinking like about the entire project, and you know, the guy on the ground, foot soldier, is kind of maybe worrying about something small that doesn't affect the bigger picture. I'm also talking out of my butt.
I think we're out of juice and we're winding down, and it's been almost an hour here.
Yeah, it has. I was totally going to get into project planning, and how to properly you know, plot out anything you might be doing.
Yeah. I guess you have that experience because you are. Sorry to cut you off there. Like you have that experience because you're a lead, right? Aren't you?
Yeah. So that's a big part. That's mostly what I do more so these days.
What, you know, that's kind of valuable stuff to like people that want to get, especially in the video game industry, or well, any kind of
I think if you're doing
role.
like a Kickstarter, it doesn't matter really what the art is. If you have a goal that requires you to do 15 X number of things, doesn't matter the exact.
Anyways, I'm gonna stop you there. You hang on to those thoughts, and we'll use them for the next episode. So I guess we'll wind down here and plug. Thanks for sticking around, us rambling about, you know, absolutely nothing, but also some stuff that's kind of important to us. You know,
feel free to just fast forward like every 15 seconds here as you need to.
No, stay through the whole thing. If you liked it, leave us a like. If you didn't, leave us a dislike. Leave a comment if you want to ask some questions, or maybe some topics you would want us to ramble about. If you're like, hey, what are these guys doing this?
Comment about
yeah, about me.
Leave a favorable comment about me.
Yeah, you can follow us. You can follow me on Instagram. That's Forbidden Prints. So it's Forbidden_Prints, prints like a printer. Alex, where can we find you?
Yeah, again, the common project tag is Tiger Skull RPG, all one word. Yeah.
All right, then.
Facebook, that's the one where I'm posting updates the fastest. Instagram as well. And I don't know, I lurk in like the D&D fantasy art Facebook group too. That place is awesome. I don't know if I can't wait till you're in there, man, because like
I'll be there. Anyways,
he is awesome.
Let's wrap this stuff up. Every time I try to wrap things up, you keep going.
I keep going. I know. I can't
help yourself.
Yeah, if you like all those things and do whatever. Or do or don't. I don't know. I don't care.
You do though. Anyways, as always, this is the second episode. Thanks for showing up, and thanks for watching this. It means a lot to me and Alex. And we'll see you next Tuesday.
Like I really like your likes.
Okay, I'm hanging up now, so you better hang up too. All right, see you next week or whatever. See you, bud.
Ciao.